IAN is who I am. A freak show is what I can be. And if you're feeling so high in joy, give me a holla. But since I can't hear you, how about you just like and subscribe? Hit a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Now let's talk about the opening match for this show. And I am going to be doing Trinity booking. And after that, Andre the Savage will be joining me while we do predictions for Survivor Series and maybe TNA Turning Point. Well, I will be giving you my predictions for TNA Turning Point. I don't know about my guest, Andre the Savage. I guess I'll find out later on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about John Cena and Bully Ray. Let's go ahead because, I'm a fan of Bully Ray since I watched TNA. Uh, so yeah, I watched TNA. That's where Bully Ray got started. That's where the gimmick got started. And anyways, now let's go ahead with the opening match for this Trinity booking on his last tour. The man you can't see, the never give up, rise above hate, John Cena versus one half of the greatest tag team ever, the Dudley Boys, 21 tag team championship, two-time world heavyweight champion, Bully Ray. I know I should have gave John Cena a mention, or I should have mentioned that John Cena was a 16-time world heavyweight champion, soon to be 17-time world heavyweight champion, and also a Grand Slam once he becomes the Intercontinental champion. Because that's gonna happen. It better. So let's go ahead. All right. So, uh, John Cena versus Bully Ray. I'm gonna go back to how would I do this? I would go back. See, I have two different ways to do this. I have the remix version. Instead of Kevin Owens coming back, I would have had not coming back. Instead of Kevin Owens making his debut, I would have just had Bully Ray. Bully Ray show up. I would had him show up at Elimination Chamber, not what's it called, on Monday Night Raw. So I would have Bully Ray showed up at Elimination Chamber for an open challenge against John Cena, and but doesn't accept the challenge. He says that he'll accept the challenge at Money in the Bank, but Bully Ray still takes out John Cena that night. Something similar to what Kevin Owens did to John Cena on the Monday Night Raw where he made his debut. And so at Money in the Bank, that's where I'll have their first time facing each other, where I'll have Bully Ray defeat John Cena, winning the United States Championship, right? And then going on to stage two of the Trinity. So the first one will be Money in the Bank, John Cena, United States Champion, putting the title on the line against Bully Ray, and then Bully Ray wins. Going on to what is it? Battleground. So now we're at Battleground. Battleground, I will have it a tables match for this Trinity match. Where I will have John Cena get the W on this one, putting Bully Ray through a table, which will lead into a match where I would basically the feud would be between like obviously Bully Ray being a bully, obviously John Cena standing up to the bully. That's the whole purpose. And obviously with the whole be a star campaign to stand up to your bullies and all that. So why would you not want to bring Bully Ray into that? And obviously just to get his ass kicked by John Cena. I feel like he would have done his part of being a bully. Um which would have what's it called? So eventually I in that battlegrounds match, I would have had chairs be involved because it would have been a no disqualification match anyways. But obviously for you to win, you have to put your opponent through a table. So Bully Ray would have mentioned that on the following Raw, where we'd use chairs, we'd use tables. The only thing that's left is ladders. So that would lead into a match at SummerSlam, TLC, John Cena versus Bully Ray for the United States champion. John Cena just won his title back from Bully Ray. And yeah, so that would be the third match John Cena putting the WWE United States Championship on the line against Bully Ray for the third time they're facing each other. Um, TLC match. I would not have this would not be like the climb the ladder type of match. This would just have ladders involved. Um, I think this would be like a pinfall. Actually, would I have it that way? No, you know what? Still climb the ladder. That way they both have a well, actually no, John Cena needs a win. Yeah, John Cena needs a win over Bully Ray. So, you know what? Yeah, I'll have a pinfalls and submission on this match, and that way Cena could win by submission for this match because Cena needs a pinfall win over Bully Ray since Bully Ray has one over Cena. So that would be the trinity for Bully Ray and John Cena. Now the other one I got for John Cena and Bully Ray. So for that, so let me go. Let's take it back. Sorry, I'm going all everywhere. The first encounter will be Elimination Chamber. Bully Ray makes his debut, return slash, return as Bubba Ray, but debuts Bully Ray. Uh, Face to face with John Cena, attacks John Cena, which leads into a United States Championship match at Money in the Bank. Bully Ray wins, takes the title away from Cena, which will lead into a tables match because obviously Bully Ray puts Cena through a table and all that. Cena needs redemption. They have a tables match. Cena gets his title back, which lead into a TLC match at SummerSlam. It's John Cena versus Bully Ray, and Cena wins the match, retains his United States Championship over Bully Ray by submission with the STF or STFU. So, yeah. The other one I got, this one takes back in 2017. Again, this is fantasy booking. This is just multi-universe. So if I don't know, think Marvel Universe. If you're a Marvel Universe fan, I feel like you will understand where I'm trying to come from when it comes to bookings of, dream matches or better yet, like Super Mash Bros. You know what I mean? Where you just have all these characters and you're trying to, video game mode. I don't know. I feel like if you play or play WWE 2K, have you ever played video games where you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna make these guys wrestle and have a story? Um, like what's it called? I know like create your own story. I forgot which WWE, I think it was SmackDown versus Raw or something, where you were able to build your own story. That's what I used to do. You know what I mean? I don't know. If you've never done anything like that, I guess that maybe this podcast is probably not your cup of tea. So I don't know. But if you just go into detail of, well, you couldn't really do that, and then it's like, well, yeah, because you're not in the fantasy world, in the fantasy world, you could do anything. You know what I mean? I don't know. So, uh, just keep kayfabe alive. So that's what I'm trying to do with this fantasy booking. I know some people don't get it, some people do, but it's cool. So for John Cena versus Bully Ray, this goes to 2017. Um, the stage one, I have John Cena. So the first time ever John Cena versus Bully Ray takes back at SummerSlam. What I got? I got here saying that John Cena gets the win after two AAs. So damn, I guess I had John Cena go over on this match. But after the match, Bully Ray puts Cena through a table, which will lead into uh a match at No Mercy, which would be a tables match, where this one where Bully Ray will get the win over John Cena. And later on, not on a pay-per-view, because this is during the Raw and SmackDown brand, trying to keep some realistic alive, uh I would not lead this into the next premium live event. I would have just kept the feud going to Raw because I would rather have this feud and on a main event, but obviously not in the pay-per-view main event, on a Raw's main event. Because most likely the John Cena Bully Ray, it either would have been my opening match or it would have been my semi main event or it would have been my third match. Yeah, so it would have been my first, third, or my semi main event. The No Mercy tables match, it would have been either been my semi-main event. Because obviously Bully Ray would have won that one. And again, and then the final match would have been a Raw match, and it would have been in the main event. So I need to have Bully Ray be strong and ready to be in the main event picture with John Cena. And obviously John Cena. Oh, this would be a TLC match. So TLC match. Uh, I have that Cena made Bully Ray tap out. This crazy spots I'll have Cena and Bully Ray do as their booker or producer, whatever, is a couple power bomb off the top rope from Bully Ray gives John Cena a power bomb off the top rope. Weapons they're gonna be using besides the tables and ladders, steel chains, chairs, ladder pipes, and all that stuff. Um, yeah, so John Cena wins with a crazy AA off the top rope through maybe a couple tables, maybe a chair, ladders or something like that. I think this would have been like a pinfall and submission TLC, since obviously there's no title involved. But that would be my other Trinity booking. So to go back, first match would be SummerSlam, John Cena versus Bully Ray. The stage two would be No Mercy tables match, and then stage three would be the final Monday Night Raw main event TLC match. John Cena versus Bully Ray. John Cena gets over. Cena wins the first match at SummerSlam. Bully Ray the second. Cena the final. And then for the first fantasy booking that I had for John Cena and Bully Ray, uh, the Elimination Chamber encounter face to face, Money in the Bank, uh, for the United States Championship, Bully Ray wins, and then Battleground tables match, Cena wins, and then the final will be TLC. Would be Cena will win. So Cena will win the Trinity against Bully Ray, obviously because of the Be the Star campaign, and that's why I would have brought Bully Ray during those two times because it would have made sense. And then after his feud with Cena back in 2015, he could have feud with what's called with Ryback. I felt like Ryback did not have that. Ryback needed a heel uh for him to be that megastar. And I felt like Bully Ray could have been that guy to help because again, you Bully Ray and Ryback could have been tag teams for a bit, and eventually Ryback could have just turned back face and feud with Bully Ray. So, yeah. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys thought about my fantasy booking for John Cena and Bully Ray. The only reason why I was solo for this one is because or I should say the only reason why this was a 1D and not a 3D. That was clever. Look at that. I needed to come back to it though. I mean, but still I came back. Yeah, that was nice. All right, cool. So it's because Ever and Andre, uh, they're not a fan of Bully Ray. They're a fan of Bubba Ray. They're a fan of the Dudleys. They're a fan of Team 3D. Formerly that's what they were known in TNA. But for both of them, by the time Bully Ray or Bubba or the team, I should say, split up, and for Bubba to become Bully Ray, they stopped watching TNA. So they never really got to experience. They heard of Bully Ray. They knew that he became solo. They heard that he became world champion. They started watching a little bit at that time, but they don't really know him well enough to book this kind of match against John Cena. Like for me, I was able to. Obviously, yes, I went back in time and changed and replaced Kevin Owens with Bully Ray, and I kind of picked the 2017 era. I could do fantasy booking right now for Bully Ray of how I would bring Bully Ray to face John Cena during his last tour. Would I do a whole three Trinity? No, but would I do a build up for a Netflix special? Sure, or even a premium, a one time face off. I could do that for Bully Ray because I watched him. I followed his career in TNA from Team 3D all the way to Bully Ray until he left the company. So I was always a fan. I was even there when when they Impact Wrestling was when they showed up to Chicago and he was the world champion. Um, so I it's easy. I could do Bully. I could make a fantasy booking for Bully Ray versus Cody Rhodes right now. Like it's not a problem. But again, it's easier for me to do that because I am a fan of Bully Ray. I really am. So yeah. Like I could give you my favorite matches of Bully Ray right now. Him against AJ Styles for the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Uh, I did enjoy his feud with Mr. Anderson. I felt like they could have been a little bit better on the story, but what they did was it worked, you know. They had I forgot what match. I think it was a casting match I enjoyed. Hit Bully Ray versus Sting at Slammiversary is a good one as well. Bully Ray versus Jeff Hardy, fantastic. Um, I'm trying to. Oh my gosh, my favorite one, Bully Ray versus Austin Aries. I watched that match live at the Impact Zone. Oh man, classic. Bully Ray knows how to. Oh my gosh, what I was gonna say, Bully Ray knows how to make people star. Man, Bully Ray versus Josh Alexander. Full Metal Mayhem, hard to kill. Oh, bro. Bully Ray made Josh Alexander a star that night. That guy, he put that man over. Man, that match right there, go check it out if you're able to. Bully Ray versus Josh Alexander for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship, Full Metal Mayhem, which is basically a TLC match. So, man, that's a good one to check out. So, woo! All right. I want to take this time to remind everyone that IAN is who I am. And if you're feeling so high in joy, give me a holla, like, and subscribe. You're listening to New Entry Wrestling Podcast. Let's go back to this episode. Andre the Savage will be joining me very soon. While we wait for him, I'm going to talk about WWE ID. And I want to say congrats to Kylie Ray uh, for being sponsored. I don't even know what to say, spotted or notice or join the WWE ID. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what this means. Ever's not here to back to give me information or to search right now. So yeah, I don't know. Like, congrats to Kylie Ray. She is here in Chicagoland, the freelance champion. So shout out to freelance, shout out to Matt Nix for helping talents like uh Kylie Ray to be discovered. And also freelance is what helped Mustafa Ali get noticed by I guess William Regal or WWE during the cruiserweight uh class. I don't remember what it was called. The cruiserweight when they were starting up the cruiserweight. Freelance is what helped Mustafa Ali get noticed. So shout out for freelance. Mustafa Ali's doing big things as well. He just opened up. I don't know if he opened up a wrestling school or he opened up a program inside a rest a at a not a wrestling at a gym. So there's a local gym here in the Skokie area in the Illinois area. Um, I heard of the gym. I ain't gonna be honest. I don't remember the name of the gym, and plus, I ain't gonna be giving the name of the gym anyways because I'm not sponsored by them. So, and plus I forgot, because I'm high in life or high in life. I'm high in joy right now. uh, but yeah, anyways, I mean, plus if you follow Mustafa Ali, I'm pretty sure he's been posting it anyways. But the school did not open yet. It's gonna open up in January, I believe, or February, so sometime next year. So yeah, that's gonna be exciting. A lot of more traffic. So hopefully Ali's a great worker. I know he's gonna train the guys right. I just hope, please, man. I just hope don't train them to take power drivers or Canadian Destroyer. train them how to work. All right. Train them how to work. Don't train them how to do the spots. There's so many wrestling schools who are just training people how to do spots. So we need more coaches who are training people how to work. And you know, so that's all I gotta say. Oh, it looks like my guest is about to pull up, so I'm gonna go ahead and welcome him in. Let's go. What up, Andres the Savage? Welcome back, bro, for another
It's on.
episode. How you been?
Good, man. It's the Sunday before Thanksgiving. It's a Sunday before Survivor Series. It is a Sunday before the very last PLE of the WWE. Not sure of professional wrestling. Don't count Saturday Night Main Event as one. Just count it as another house show that's going to be live.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, the day this episode will drop is gonna be either Friday or Saturday. So it's gonna be Survivor Series. So let's go ahead and talk about predictions. Even though there's not a full lineup card, but I mean it's not like whatever. I mean, clearly whatever they got now is the only thing we're gonna be talking about anyways, because if there were more matches to be announced, it would have been announced anyways. Um, but it seems like with the matches that they got now, it seems like they're all going to be between 30 to 40-minute matches. And then,
Including entrances.
yeah, and then the entrances. So it's going to be like an hour overall for each. And then the rumors of the matches is LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Most likely that's going to happen on SmackDown. And then you also got the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther versus Damian Priest. That's probably going to be 20 minutes. And then so right now we only got three matches. LA Knight and Shinsuke Nakamura is the rumor. But again, I feel like that's going to be a SmackDown feud. Maybe it's going to lead to Saturday night unless they do add it. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about Gunther versus Damian Priest. For me, that's the one that's like I really thought it was gonna be Sami Zayn. I really thought it was
Same.
gonna be Sami Zayn, so that's why I'm not. And I thought Saturday night main event or the Royal Rumble was gonna be Damian Priest. And to be honest, at that point, I would have accepted Damian Priest even winning the title back just to have that feud with Finn Balor at WrestleMania for Finn to win the title from Damian. Uh and again, I was hoping I thought it was gonna be Sami Zayn, and also in my mind, I thought it was gonna be a title versus career match. So I overhyped this world title match so much where it's just like to me, it's a mid-card title match. So that's on me. Nothing on WWE. That's on me. Sami Zayn, obviously, he's in part of the War Games with the Bloodline. So Gunther versus Damian Priest. I'm gonna go with Gunther retaining. Uh, I'm gonna say it's gonna be like at least an 8 to 10 minute match. Um, I honestly, I'm guessing. Also, another prediction: Finn Balor's gonna interfere. Um, I hope he doesn't though, just because again, if this is gonna lead up to a feud for WrestleMania, it's like, why restart it again now? But if they're already hinting with Seth Rollins and CM Punk, so that's why I'm predicting Finn Balor is gonna screw Damian Priest on Survivor Series. What are your thoughts and your predictions for Gunther versus Damian Priest?
Yeah, I think there's obviously going to be some sort of run in, whether it's by the Judgment Day as a whole or just Finn Balor.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, also Ludwig Kaiser, who's trying to show that he's not just Gunther's lackey, and
For
um,
sure.
and obviously, I think we're going to see mid card belts in the main event of both shows. We're probably going to have we have not be the last segment on the card. It's going to be the last match on the card for both SmackDown and Raw. Go home. Uh, The IC title, I think you're going to end up seeing a triple threat between Sheamus, Braun, and Luke Kaiser for the IC title. And
Mhm.
then you're going to end up seeing, again, like you said, Shinsuke versus LA Knight for the US title.
Yeah.
Um,
I totally forgot about the WWE Championship, Cody and Kevin Owens. That's also could have, again, day of recording that could be added on to as well. But at the same time, it's like I feel for Survivor Series, it's just about the bloodline right now.
yeah, well, I think at this point it is going to be end up being Kevin Owens and Cody because to have at least one person from Canada be in the world title picture. And
Hmm.
it's like you said at first, I really thought it was going to be KO and Cody, while Sammy would be taking um
Gunther.
would be on Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Right.
But that didn't end up happening. That obviously would have made more. I don't know if a career versus title, or maybe if the stipulation should be if Gunther retains, Sammy can't compete for any world championship. That should have been the stipulation there. That Sammy
Mm.
can't compete for any world heavyweight championship as long as Gunther is the world heavyweight. So that would mean that you couldn't have Sammy compete in the Royal Rumble or the Money in the Bank until Gunther would drop the world heavyweight championship. Even if regaining it back, as long as he drops that first title reign, stipulation. So um,
Yeah.
no, because I mean, if Sammy puts his career, that means that his contract is coming up. So
Right.
obviously, since he just re-signed a multi-year extension, the thing should be Sammy should not be up for any world championship on the roster until Gunther drops it. That would have been for Survivor Series. But you
Mm.
get to have Sammy in the main event, regardless. You have him in the World War Games match. Um, I think Damian Priest loses. If he does win, it's by disqualification due to a run-in.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
that is a
and that's just
possibility.
so we can keep the Finn Balor and Damian Priest rivalry going. Um, but now you have a formula for Gunther
Hmm.
for whenever he drops the world title. Now you have him starting to doubt himself, and you need him to eventually build rebuild that confidence for whoever WrestleMania opponent is going to end up being. Because Damian Priest that seed in of doubt of ever since you've been world champion, you haven't been the same champion you were as the Intercontinental champion. They even bring
Mm.
up the UK title ring. You know, he changed his persona the moment he dropped the title to. Uh, uh, so maybe you could start having that same type of master manipulation with every opponent he has up until whenever he drops the title. You need to kind of mess with him, play those mind games of you're not as good as you think you are,
Mm.
and maybe I just got better.
Okay. Yeah, I like
Put
that.
that mindset in every one of his rivalries. That's got to be the mess with him kind of thing. That's the only way you can get inside of his head. Um, so yeah, I think Priest loses. If he wins, it's going to be via DQ. We're obviously going to see running from more than likely the whole Judgment Day. Um, you said Finn Balor only. That's just continuing the rivalry, but I say Judgment Day because you're going to see that rift
Mm.
between the group because we're starting to see that. Eventually, Dominic's going to just maybe Carlito also, and then it's going to come to the point where it's just going to be just Finn and Jade. So obviously, there's a rift for the Judgment Day. I don't know if eventually Finn is going to take advantage and start Balor Club. Um,
Mm.
maybe they're just waiting for Carl Anderson to get healthy again and bring them back to the Raw roster. You know how they're saying they're going to move everybody to Raw for Netflix.
Yeah, right. Because they need all the big names, and even like you said, Carl Anderson, the Good Brothers, everybody knows who they are, and they're still a name regardless. They haven't really done anything. It's just like, yeah, but they're still like a big tag team in the division. Um, but so you said, man, you said something about the DQ. It works because it's not going to be in the main event. So Gunther does not need to beat Damian Priest again, and plus it's going to be interference once again. So having that DQ win for Damian Priest to have that DQ win over Gunther, it saves both wrestlers. And
Yep.
then so it works out perfectly. And I'm not a fan of no disqualifications. But since like for world title matches. But again, this is not gonna be closing out the show, so it works. And it's also to continue the rivalry, you know, for a bigger stage. So you're
Yep.
gonna so you want so you think Damian Priest is gonna win by DQ.
Yep.
Okay. Let's go on to I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm not excited for the women's war games. Until recently, where Jade Cargill got taken out. Rumor has it that it could be Naomi or Bailey that took Jade Cargill out. Because I believe Bailey was the one who took her spot. Uh,
Nobody took her spot. Bailey's still in the U.S. title tournament, so she hasn't really officially been inserted yet. No, nobody's been inserted yet to Jade's spot because it's
no, Bailey.
not confirmed.
No, it's Bailey because it's SmackDown was taped. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not so at yeah, so technically it's not confirmed yet because it's a taped SmackDown. So whenever this episode drops, if it's either Friday or Saturday, it's already been announced because obviously at night it's gonna be SmackDown anyway, so that's when they're gonna announce it's gonna be Bailey. So Bailey is the fifth woman for the War Games. I'm gonna be honest, I thought it was gonna be Jordan Grace, and I feel that would have been a perfect time to have Naomi turn heel. And but sorry, you could have had Naomi took her spot or Bailey. Like Bailey could have taken Naomi or Bailey's spot. And then oh no, Bailey just got added, sorry. But still, instead of Io Sky or whatever, you could have had Jordan Grace taking one of those two spots instead of Jade Cargill. But Jade Cargill is the one that got taken out. So apparently it's Naomi and Bailey. Um, so here's the women's war games. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, Bailey versus Judgment Day. I thought they weren't part of Judgment Day anymore. Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany, and Kansas LeRae. Um, I'm gonna be honest. I I'm gonna go with the Team Judgment Day, I guess. Liv Morgan. Um, just because I feel like I'm only saying this just because the babyface women's war game won last year, so I feel like it's gonna be the heels this year. I don't know what the story is, and that's Andre, I care about the story, so I don't know what the story is here. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this match is happening. Besides the fact is they need a women's war games. So that's all I gotta say is Liv Morgan's team is gonna go over. Like I got nothing to say about it. I don't know why again. It's only happening because they need a women's war games.
It's like what I mentioned earlier on the last show that both women's main event scene is depleted. You've got injuries and you've got a lack of baby faces.
Yeah.
Um, that's why it makes sense for me from a new mid card title perspective to put somebody like Bianca and Bailey in the U.S. Women's Champion tournament.
Mhm.
Sure, they're credible because they're former champions, right?
Right.
Bailey's the first women's Grand Slam champion. Um, but unless the purpose is for them to be in there to add credibility to the tournament, it makes no sense for them to want to be continuing to advance. This should be a championship, a mid card champion that has never held a title. So from that, for that gets ascended from somebody who needed to be a champion that can also make the championship great. Somebody like Zelina, somebody like Chelsea, somebody like Tiffany, even
Hmm.
before being women's champion, should be the U.S. champion. But we'll see where that's going to go. Obviously, it's going to close off at the end of the year on Saturday Night Main Event. And yeah, it took away the women's championship that we thought we were going to get, which was EO versus Liv Morgan.
Right.
But if that's not going to happen at Saturday Night Main Event, it might be either on the last taped Raw or maybe the
Mm.
first Raw on Netflix, the women's championship.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's a good something to get some views. Maybe set it for a later time.
Right.
Um, Also, just like you can't have, I guess, Survivor Series NXT without Kevin Owens, you can't have War Games on the main roster without Io Sky to do the trash can spot.
Yeah. The
So
trash can spot.
uh, there should have been a stipulation, obviously, to it, right? You got both women's world champions on the same team. Uh, but who knows? You're going to probably see Tiffany tease, the cash in. The only way
I
that happens is if the only way that happens is if the heel team loses. If
mm,
the heel team loses and you lift the cage, Tiffany's on the outside. That's the only way that spot works. Because as the
mm,
faces are celebrating, they're looking down at both Nia and Liv. We're down, and then you see Tiffany on the outside looking whether or not to take advantage of that spot.
mm.
So yeah, I agree with you. The heels should be the winners, um, unless you're going to give away who attacked Jade Cargill. There's no reason for the babyfaces need to win. You already had the babyfaces destroy Bailey last year. Um, we got to I got to be live for that, seeing them just.
Yeah, I was there. I was there live for it
It's
too.
funny. It's kind of it's like damage control kind of said, screw it, let Bailey take the pin.
Right.
They could have gotten up. It was kind of like when Batista turned on Triple H in the
Rebel.
Elimination Chamber match. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, when Triple H let Batista take the pin, he
Right.
could have gotten up and helped Batista. Same thing with damage control. They could have gotten up and gotten Bailey, but sacrificed her. So
Hmm.
um, unless there's going to be a special return, yeah, I think that's going to be match number 2, and I don't think that there's any reason for the baby faces to win.
No.
Um,
Unless the proof was the heels did took out Jake Cargill, and we
just to
got
like kind of yeah, Connor
yeah,
rift in the team,
right.
like to cause mistrust amongst each other.
Yeah, but they did it too late for that. If that was the case throughout the whole, and then Jake Cargill came back for this match just in time, then it would have worked out. But to me, all I gotta say is one thing, because I just realized it that Nia Jax was in this match. And why didn't she just face Liv Morgan? So why didn't we just had a Raw versus SmackDown, women's SmackDowns versus Raw's champion? Why couldn't that just happen? Then we have a match of what's worth talking about. Ooh, who's gonna win now? Team SmackDown, Team Raw, War Game style. Like I said, there's no reason for this woman's match to happen, but obviously because of Jay Cargill now, there is a story behind it. But the story's gonna happen after the match, not leading up to the show. So yeah, so this is gonna be interesting. So we both agree that the heels are gonna go over on this one. Um, if I will say one thing before you did mention earlier about the mid card. Uh, Last year they brought back Trish Stratus for no reason. Why could not we need somebody like that for the US title where it doesn't have to be a Bailey or Naomi? Why couldn't they bring a Trish Stratus or something like that? Because I will say they do need a top woman in the in the finals, right? Right, in the finals. And then that's where you have the underdog win. Um so now the war games, the men's war games. It's gonna be an interesting one. I will say this for yeah, because I thought Cody Rhodes was gonna be in the match. Uh, I think episode 191, I did Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens title versus career for my fantasy booking. So go check that out, guys, if you guys have a chance. Because I'm not gonna talk about that one right here. I talked for like 10 minutes about it. Uh, so yeah, that was the other thing. I'm kind of disappointed because for like 2 months we've been building up this Survivor Series pay-per-view, thinking premium live event, whatever, thinking that it was going to be Sami Zayn versus Gunther for the world title and Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes, or Cody Rhodes is going to be part of War Games, and then Kevin Owens was going to face Randy Orton, but now it's up in the air. Um, So for the men's war games, Roman Reigns, Uso, Sami Zayn, now CM Punk versus the Bloodline, Solo, Jacob, Tama, and Tonga, and Bronson Reed. Seth Rollins was supposed to join, but obviously he said no because he's just like Xavier Woods. Why would we join the Bloodline or Roman after we feud with them for 3 years? Uh, and plus, it's like a family thing. Why are you guys being in part of it? And then obviously CM Punk is a part of it because Paul Heyman is asking for a favor. And when Paul Heyman made his return, ladies and gentlemen, he was wearing a suit similar to Solo. Every time he comes out and he's just a businessman, he's wearing a black suit with a red sweater, long sleeve shirt, whatever you want to call it. And Paul Heyman, I know you ain't listening, but I'm gonna make it one day, bro. And I'm gonna tell you to come back and listen to this episode, bro. If you pinch a nerve and screw, I don't even know what you're gonna do, but you're gonna screw all of us. You're gonna pinch a nerve. I already know it because you're trying to sell tickets for WrestleMania. You're trying to sell tickets for Netflix. I don't know what you're gonna do, man, but damn, it is going to hurt. So, prediction time. Andre, I gotta hear your side of the story before I give you my prediction, because maybe you may change my mind. So go ahead, take over.
Um, yeah. Well, obviously you're gonna. I'm not sure if the Raw from this upcoming Raw is pre-taped.
They're
If it's
all
not,
they're so it's gonna be like SmackDown or how Impact used to be. It's gonna be taped. Uh they're gonna be live one night and then they're gonna be taped after that going
so
forward.
I think they're gonna insert something that might not have been pre-taped. Maybe something that might have been done recently from a show. You're probably gonna have a little tension build up. CM Punk and Seth. So it teases Seth interfering,
Hmm.
or even Seth going up to Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. It doesn't have to be the whole bloodline. It has to be members of that team that Seth is going to go up to and go, really?
Right.
And
Who's
then
on so
he'll
who's on
probably
Raw? Jay, right? Is Jay the only Raw?
Jay and Sammy,
Zay,
Jay,
okay.
Sammy, and CM Punk.
Okay.
So you're going to have him do that, and you're going to have Seth say something along the lines of, just like I didn't warn you. That's all he needs to say. Doesn't need to
Right.
do anything else. Doesn't need to do anything else. Has his
Or
little match
or
with
even
Bronson
say
Reed.
I don't have to be your shield. I'm not gonna be your shield.
Um, and then you're probably, or maybe somebody gets attacked from the bloodline. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be out of the match. It's a sign. It's a warning from somebody. Is it a
Right.
warning from the bloodline? Is it a warning from Seth? Is it a warning from Hall?
Ooh.
Dropping the Easter egg deception. Who knows? But they'll show up either in the attack SmackDown brawl, or they'll show up at Survivor Series. Um, it's going to start off with, once again, with Jey Uso. I think Jey Uso is going to. Jey Uso was told the last time by Roman to
Mhm.
start. The last time he was with Roman on the same team, Roman told Jey Uso to start. Right. This time, Roman's going to probably want to start because it's Jacob Fatu that decides to be the first man, the Iron Man,
Mm.
and Jey Uso's going to push Roman back and say, "I got this." Remember, he's trying. He's not Roman's lackey anymore. He's Roman's equal. So he's in a kind of,
I
you
like
know
that.
the alpha trying to knuckle up with each other.
Right.
You're gonna see that tension in that freaking cage the whole time until
Let,
Roman gets in between Sammy,
let me add
CM
something.
Punk.
Let me add something. If it wasn't for Solo, if it wasn't for the bloodline, Jay would technically be the only champion right now. Let's not
Yep.
forget about that. So
So he
Andre,
can.
so what
So
Andre just
if he
said
held that belt,
backs it up. Backs it
if he
up.
had that belt, it would be kind of like a, hey, you know,
What we doing here?
I'm the alpha right now. I'm the champion
Facts.
out of us.
Facts.
Um,
So what you just said about Jay, it backs it up because technically he should be champion.
and now it kind of messes with Roman's mind. It's kind of like how they're gonna have that little tease in the women's face team, right? You're gonna have
Mhm.
that same tension in the men's face team because it's all that drama from back then. It's all the turning on each other from back then. So they mess with everybody's mind throughout the whole, build that tension up. Um, unless somebody's been missing, you're gonna have everybody in the cage together, right?
Right.
Um, you give Solo and you give Jacob Fatu and Jimmy. I mean Jacob and Jay a good Royal Rumble Iron Man kind of ass whooping. Like a
Mhm.
good 2 3 minutes until the next person just being the ever loving out of each other. Until you get the next few guys, Jimmy, then Tonga, then Butthead over there, and then you got Sammy.
Right.
Um, CM Punk has to be saved for last because he just had that Hell in a Cell match just a few weeks ago. So you want to avoid Punk getting injured with the history he had with AEW. You want to avoid that injury so that if he does need time off, it's just a few weeks to recover in December before the Rumble match or
Mm.
before whenever Seth
I'm
takes him
glad.
out to put him on the shelf.
I'm glad you
So
said
you
that.
save Punk and Roman for the end, but definitely save CM Punk for the very last spot
Mhm.
until War Games officially starts. So you got the Iron Man between Jacob and Jay. Eventually put Jimmy and Sammy, and then also the Tongans, but you leave the best ones for last. Um, I do think somebody's
Save the
gonna
best
get
for
somebody's
last. That's Jimmy J. Or that's
some
Jacob Fatu.
somebody's gonna force the cage door to be open. I can't say who. Someone's gonna force the cage door to be open, like if it's a steel cage match. That's where Paul Heyman strikes.
Interesting.
If Paul Heyman turns on the faces, that's where he strikes by slamming the cage door on Roman
Mm.
or Jimmy. And then you see Solo laughing. That's how he turns him. If he does not turn on him at all, it's going to be somewhere more along the line at WrestleMania. So the heel faces win via Paul Heyman. Otherwise, the faces win. And as they're celebrating, out comes The Rock.
Mm.
No Seth yet. Save Seth for like the Raw after Survivor Series. He just teases. I guess if you think something's gonna happen at Survivor Series, but he doesn't, right?
Right.
So it's The Rock that comes out. Remember, he said he did two. He did
Hmm.
two at Bad Blood because the strike one was the night after WrestleMania. Strike two, as in that's the second time you hurt me. Bad Blood. He does this,
Strike three.
and the three strikes were on Roman. Roman failed him once at WrestleMania. He failed him a second time by aligning with Cody Rhodes. He failed him a third time by aligning with CM Punk of all guys. And he, instead of joining the bloodline and accepting Solo, who is the interim chief, the
Hmm.
real tribal chief is The Rock. We all know it.
Yes.
Even when Roman was the tribal chief, it's always been The Rock.
Even Solo knows it.
Solo is the interim chief. He's following the real high chief's orders. But the tribal chief doesn't mean anything. It's the high chief.
Yeah.
So that's how you close it. If you'll have some matches in between here and then, I would say maybe you'll insert something, just some pee break matches, something to get you guys to get off the couch for a bit, just step up. Um, if it's not going to be a match for Cody and Kevin Owens, I think it's going to be just a straight up brawl. Just let them do the whole let them fight moment. Let them fight, let them fight, let them beat the crap out of each other.
I think
Um,
the Kevin Owens show. Kevin
and then
Owens
you just
show.
have that same spot that
Yeah.
Kevin Owens has with somebody where he tapes up his fist and they're just both grabbing each other and just trading punches each other at the same time. Um,
I could see the Kevin Owens
spot
show happen. And
Spot
then
ends with either Cody doing the crossroads on the announcement table or Kevin Owens doing the pile driver, not the power bomb, pile driver to
power
Cody
drive.
on the announcer's table.
Mm.
So if they don't have a match that gets put in last minute, it's going to be a spot fest to
What
maybe
about
it's Saturday
unsanctioned
night.
match?
Maybe have the Ascension match at Saturday night main event.
Mm. Not a Survivor Series though.
No, I mean
Mm.
it's if it's
If
going
it's
to
not
end
gonna
up
be an
and then
official match, like that's what I'm saying. Like if it was gonna be a
I
Kevin
think
Owens show, and then they could
well
have that match there.
we already had Kevin Owens losing right now. We don't want to have him lose too soon just yet.
Mm. Oh
And the
yeah, because
reason I say
you
that
would
is
need a
because
winner.
you want to continue the rivalry going
Right.
where there's a payoff. And the payoff is going to be where Randy Orton gets involved at some point. Let Randy Orton recover for the time being because it's a neck injury.
Hmm.
Um, and the reason I say that is because if it ends up being a match, it's going to end up in no contest.
Or another
So if you're going to do
disqualification match. So
at least this they're just brawling and doing a lot of spots,
right, and then they're part of the show anyways.
right?
So
Um, so let it be something that pays off at the Rumble
mhm. And it gives the
with
world
Randy
heavyweight
Orton.
title that spotlight that this is
And if
a main event
and if
title as
Randy Orton,
well.
yeah, and if Randy Orton doesn't get involved during a referee being knocked down or something, then have him be the special guest referee if he's not in the match
Ooh,
himself.
damn, yeah. Special guest referee Randy Orton for Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens Saturday
Now,
night
a good way
main
to mess
event.
with that too. We'll save that for another show. But a good way to mess with that is if somebody rakes Randy's eyes or throws dust or something, blinds him, right?
Right. And
And the
accidentally
fans are calling for
RKO's.
you hear either RKO's both of them or RKO's one of them, and you hear the fans going 1, 2, 3, and Randy starts just spinning while he's blinded.
Ooh. And he doesn't know who's being covered.
Right.
Damn, I like that. Well, that's definitely a fantasy booking next time. In a different episode. Um, so for my predictions for the Survivor Series War Game, I didn't thought about this until you mentioned CM Punk being last, but that works. So I got multiple predictions for this War Game. The new one I just thought of is the one with CM Punk being last. I didn't thought about that because so I'm thinking, what if they take CM Punk out before it, and which has to make him be the last one? Because I started thinking about if you have CM Punk and Roman Reigns in that cage, Roman Reigns ain't gonna go out fourth. The only way he'll go out fourth unless Jimmy and Jay are like tied down and they need help. And that's the only way Roman's gonna be like, nah, this is my family. I'm gonna go. Other than that, if everybody's healthy and all that, Roman's gonna be like, you go out there. I'm Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Like he's waiting
Yeah.
for Solo.
Yeah, he's exactly. Unless Solo's already in there. So I feel like CM Punk or even Roman Reigns is gonna be taken out, and Brock Lesnar comes back and takes their spot, CM Punk spot. My other prediction is CM Punk does get in the ring, obviously. Still gets taken out, comes back later, and I feel like CM Punk is gonna be the reason why the Bloodline loses because of Seth Rollins. He screws them. He screws CM Punk, which causes Roman Reigns to team to lose. Uh, if that does happen, I don't see The Rock showing up. I feel more of a heated between Roman Reigns and CM Punk now because where do you go with Roman and Solo, the Bloodline, the Roman Bloodline versus Bloodline 2.0? Where do you go from here to Saturday night main event with Roman and Solo? I don't really see it. And I do see the prediction of The Rock showing up. Um, but I don't know I don't know the end for it. Like, I don't see The Rock showing up for that kind of ending that I just gave. And for Roman to beat Solo or Solo to beat Roman, and I still see that happening. Um, but I don't know. I feel like though. My issue is the third strike. What now? What, you know what I mean? What's next then? If you do show up and you do give him that three strikes, what? It's not like you're gonna fire Roman or what. You're just gonna save it for WrestleMania. So that's why it's like, why do it at Survivor Series? The only, so um unless the Rock is the reason why he screws Roman, like he shows up and then he gets involved in the match. That's the only way I see the Rock showing up. And then Rock Bottom, you know, Roman, or maybe Jay, maybe even CM Punk. That's the only way I see the Rock showing up. So, but who's gonna win? Whew. I think the Rock Bloodline, the Bloodline 2.0. I think they're gonna go over. Uh, oh, I forgot about Bronson Reed. Man, Bronson Reed could get the W too. I didn't even think about that. But I thought that's gonna happen. I feel like Solo, somebody's gonna pin CM Punk. That's what I'm thinking. Somebody's gonna pin CM Punk, and then that way they could blame him.
Now,
Um,
here's a good question for this match. We know that Io is going to get the spot on the top of the cage. Which of the men gets the spot from the top of the cage? Bronson's big ass,
Jacob.
Jay Uso with the Uso splash, CM Punk with the Randy Savage elbow drop. Which,
Hmm,
if he was younger, I would say yes. Now that he's
right,
older, it's like I don't want him to have the same spot that Edge had and you know destroy his foot.
right.
Um, or maybe one
Well,
of the Samoans doing a Samoan drop from the top of the cage, kind of thing.
what would Jacob do on the top rope?
That's that moonsault.
Oh, jeez,
Obviously, it's
he's
not
not
going to
gonna
be
do.
as as fast, but he could always do a moonsault from the top of the cage. To crash the landing, he would have to either land on all the guys,
Mhm.
break his fall, or somebody would have to be put on a table
Okay.
to give him a good crash landing.
I think table spot is gonna be Jay. Jay for the baby face, and then for the heel, I think it's gonna be Bronson Reed. I don't think he's gonna go to the top of the cage. I'll be impressed, but I think he's gonna go on the top of the rope and then just do a splash from there. Um, Jacob, I think he's just gonna. I don't, man. I feel like you know what? S- Speaking about doing a dive outside of the ring, I think Jacob would do that. I think Jacob will be that guy to do a dive out to the outside, and obviously people are gonna catch his fall if that's gonna happen. Um, any other predictions for Survivor Series?
Um, if anything, we might have another segment with the Wyatt Six and Current Cross's team. That's that might be another
Oh
thing
yeah,
you might see.
you would think
Like I
that
said,
would be part of War
you're gonna
Game.
have fillers. You're gonna have fillers throughout the pay per view just to keep the fans going, giving everybody a pee break, giving everybody that time to get up and go get something to eat, stretch
Right.
their legs. That'll probably be something that gets inserted just so they can continue the rivalry. That will probably end at the Rumble.
Hmm.
Just so you got all those guys something to do, all those girls with something to do, and everybody gets a payday.
Right.
I do think while you were saying Naomi, I wanted to actually inject and say I think it might be Charlotte that could also be the attacker because
Oh damn! I
it's, it's going to be almost 2 years, a year and a half now since she got injured.
it's
And the
only been
tease
a
is that
it's
she
only
might.
it's only been a year because she was at the last year's Survivor Series.
So well, it's been a while. So,
Yeah.
um, and she's actually been cleared for a while, but she's just been taking her time out to keep training, picking the right moment because she's earned that right. She is the most decorated woman of the entire timeline in
Women's
professional
division,
wrestling.
and she's
She
so
is. She is.
beautiful.
She's definitely in the. She's definitely in the Mount Rushmore. She's earned that right to be in the Mount Rushmore. She is her father. So
Facts. I love
you
Charlotte.
know, she is
She's
the
my
one that filled the shoes of Ric Flair. No one else in that
yeah.
family could.
Yeah, and if sh the one place I definitely want Charlotte to go is TNA. I know she never will, but oh my gosh, I will. I wish she will go to TNA just to win the TNA Knockouts World Championship. And so we're gonna segue to TNA. I don't know if you're a fan of TNA, but the day of recording, or the day the episode drops, TNA Turning Point, uh, it's gonna be Friday, so the day before Survivor Series. Uh, there's an impressive match card for a premium live event that's like a um not a big show. This is not a pay-per-view. This is just part of their premium live event that you get with the TNA Plus. So we got Moose versus Laredo Kid for the TNA X Division Championship. Frankie Kazarian versus Mike Santana. Josh Alexander versus Steve Macklin. No disqualification match. We got the Hardy Boys and Ace Austin versus the Rascals and Kushida in a six-man tag team match. We got a six-way Thanksgiving Turkey Bowl match. Joe Hendry, Eric Young, Hammerstorm, John Schuyler, PCO, Brian Myers. We also got a 2 out of 3 falls match for the TNA's Knockout World Championship. Masha Slamovich versus Jordan Grace in the main event. Well, they're both main events, the TNA Knockouts and the TNA World Championship. Nick Mimith, aka Dolph Ziggler, versus Die Hard Eddie Edwards. I'm excited for this match, and my predictions is Moose retains, Frankie Kazarian wins, Steve Macklin wins, Hardy Boys and Ace Austin win. I am gonna go with. Ooh, that's gonna be a tough one. Whoever John Schuyler is gonna lose, so I'm gonna go with that. But I think Joe Hendry's gonna win the Turkey Bowl. Smas. Oh, and then the Turkey Bowl, whoever loses, the reason why I said John Schuyler is gonna lose is because if he loses, he's gonna has to put a turkey suit on. So, um, sucks for him. But
Probably
hey,
Luger, huh?
yeah, and the cosplay, the
Like
cosplay.
Eggman. Some she
Uh,
said Eggman. Oh man, I don't want to be Eggman.
yeah, it's gonna be Eggman. Slamovich is versus Jordan Grace. Slamovich is going to retain, and I think we're going to crown a new world heavyweight champion. I think Eddie Edwards is going to defeat Nick Mimith. Um, I feel like they're trying to get all the system to get gold at this point. Uh, and I feel like they're trying to have Moose turn face um in the long term because with the TNA X division you could use it as an option C to cash in for a world heavyweight title shot, and I feel like he's going to do that to on his mentor Eddie Edwards. That's what I'm predicting for Turning Point. Super excited for that. Andre, you a fan of TNA?
I try to watch it, man, but got a lot of things I already invest my time in. So
I feel you.
WWE is enough. I don't, I don't, I don't, I don't, I don't balance my wrestling time like I used to, especially like around that time where WWE was starting to get stale, and the only thing that was good was really NXT.
Right.
So everybody was tuning into TNA, Ring of Honor,
Hmm.
before they got purchased, and then New Japan. That really that was probably the hype of before AEW came around.
Right.
Um, all the minor leagues were getting good viewership. So,
See, yeah.
but I think it would be good for Nick to drop the title sometime before the year ends because he is a very likely potential for a surprise Royal Rumble entrant. You know
Oh,
that
yes.
WWE and TNA are doing good, and especially now that WWE is doing that WWE ID, where they're paying attention to
Right.
the indies and the minor league wrestlings. So because there's also been a lot of cleaning house, I think the Rumble entry is going to be 10 Raw, 10 SmackDown, and the other 10 are going to be a combination of NXT and cross branded promotions.
Mm,
So give the obviously Dolph Ziggler return. a good number 15, 16, or 18 spot. So it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win, but it gives him a good spot where he can just be Dolph Ziggler, the guy we've seen be Shawn Michaels lukewarm.
Mm. So what about Joe Hendry entering the Royal Rumble? Because that is rumors that he may come back for that.
I think the only he gets is if he has that. I say if NXT does that one tournament or battle royal for the last spot in the Rumble entry.
Mm. Would you you know what? Since you mentioned about the how you feel like they're gonna give the like five NXT and then five, like maybe not five for TNA. But I feel like it's a possibility.
I'm surprised, yeah.
Yeah, like five surprise, but I feel like they could do five TNAs just because you have the form like I you could have Nick come back as Dolph Ziggler. You could have Brian Meyer come back as Kurt Hawkins, former WWE guys, and then you could have because at least those two guys would have been familiar faces. Oh, we know who they are because they came back as the former WWE guys. And while the other three people, like maybe a Eddie Edwards or a Moose, that's where it's gonna be like, oh, who are these people? I feel like Joe Hendry is an obvious choice uh, for a surprise entry. But PCO is one as well. But I think if they are gonna have a tournament, like you said, who could enter the Royal Rumble, it should be they should have one on NXT with the TNA stars, or even have one on TNA, where TNA they could have their own battle royal, and then the winner of that gets added. Freaking Kazarian could be one because since he is Call Your Shot Gothic, and he is a possibility, a former WWE guy as well. So the
Yeah,
future,
and
he's back. Look at that. The future is back.
on a good spot could be also for Rumble entry instead of it. Zack Ryder, but not Zack Ryder. He'll take his real name
Matt Cardona.
as a return. And then you tease a little segment between him and Chelsea backstage, especially if she wins the U.S.
Oh,
title. Especially if she wins the U.S. title, because they could like, oh, look at that, the first bride and groom, former and current U.S. champions.
nice.
When he
Nice.
says, you know, it could happen, and then you have him turn around and L.A. Knight,
Ooh,
kind of like, oh, so you plan on being the next U.S. champion, huh?
that's nice right there. See that little segment right there. And it's crazy. They could do stuff like that. They don't, it doesn't even have to happen at the Royal Rumble. Obviously, it makes sense for it to happen at the Royal Rumble, but they could do that anytime. But they won't, you know?
We'll see. We'll see. We'll
With
see under the Triple H regime. Anything can happen now.
yeah. But to be fair, Matt Cordona, I don't think he signed with TNA. I think he's just guaranteed certain days with them. Kind of like the what Mustafa
No,
Ali
but I mean,
did.
like you said, the five surprise entries don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to be at TNA. It could be any
Oh
guys
yeah.
from.
No, but I'm saying that that's probably the reason why it won't work because he's not part of TNA. But as a surprise, yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that
Well,
happening.
then that's
Yeah.
that's when I brought up the whole WWE IDs. It could be
Yeah.
whoever WWE IDs as an actual competitor in professional wrestling.
Mhm.
They are allowed. Right now, AEW is not under ID, but somehow Ring of Honor is. Let that sink in.
Uh, uh, Tony Khan owns 20 or some sort of percentage of the company, and then the whoever I forgot his name now because I was so disappointed that he sold it to Tony, but I realized he only sold a percentage of the company for Tony to run the company, and that's why he was upset of like, bro, why are you what are you doing to my company? Basically he's Tony Khan is funding it. That's all it is. That's why he's treating the show the way he is until I guess the guy who truly owns Ring of Honor, I guess until he gets out of debt or he could pay Tony Khan, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So, and speaking about we can't pay things, bro, we cannot pay these Royal Rumble tickets.
Not
So, meaning
unless you sell all your Doge.
God damn, bro, those ticket price. I was like, damn, all right. For
Well,
what?
there's still some decent ones, but you have to be willing to spend that extra money. There are some 200 level seats, 400 level seats for about $200, but once you see the tax that they add on, yeah, it doesn't look too.
That's the thing.
It's to
No,
each their own, man. To each their own if they're willing to spend. There's a section that one of our guys from CWK, one of my friends from high school, his name is Jordan. He said he managed to get the tickets. They were priced differently than what the final price is, but it's the 245, 247 section. That section is going to see who's coming down the ramp. Um, so it's going to be an L shape,
right.
like a L shape crescent shape for the from the entrance. Um, so they get to see them as they're turning, going to the ramp that where before it gets to the ring. It is
Hmm.
going to be a long. It's going to be a long walk for everybody.
No.
Um, so maybe when you're not watching some of the if they're older, you might have them take one of the golf carts or something to the entrance.
Yeah, that's what they
So
always do anyways. They
with
take the
with
golf
with
carts
that
halfway.
with that you might have limited pay per view matches also at the Rumble just because it's going to be a long walk, which takes up a good portion of the time. And whoever runs is going to be stupid because they're going to be winded as hell trying to sprint all the way to the ring.
Yeah.
So
And then you still have to walk
so
back, and then you still have your
if
spots.
if John Cena is going to be one of the returns, he's going to be winded like Batista by the time he gets to the ring.
Right, for sure. Oh man. But like yeah, with the ticket prices are not that bad. It's the extra fees and I mean, it's not even the taxes. It's just the extra fees. It's just like why? It doesn't have why my thing is why is it so much with the fees, man? It doesn't you're
TKO
giving fees
TKO
for
is
everybody.
charging TKO is charging Taylor Swift prices for something that used to
They
cost $100.
are. Yeah, they are. It's crazy
Yeah,
because they need to they
when I went
need
to
to
the
pay
Rumble
these
in St.
wrestlers.
Louis, when I went to the Rumble in St. Louis, what I would have paid for just by myself is what I paid for me and my brother to go. Same thing with SummerSlam in Knoxville. What we would
Mm,
have paid, what they're going to be charging for SummerSlam in New York is what we would have paid for like three people. Um, yeah, even the
yeah.
WrestleMania package is ridiculous. It's like, yeah. Let me see if I win the lottery first before I go and spend that much money. So I guess I'll have to wait for WrestleMania 2030 to go to WrestleMania now.
Man, that's yeah, those prices are
Or
crazy. I'm gonna be
either that or
honest, I
those
didn't
script
thought it was gonna be that high.
either that or those cryptos are gonna have to hit $100 for me to be able to pay for that. So
Yeah. So I guess this is it for the like us to afford tickets. So now all we go for is live shows, which is fine. Um, the only
it's
thing
gonna be
I
well
am
before it comes. It's gonna be well before they come back to Chicago anyway. So
it's gonna be a
I
while.
guess in
They're
the
gonna have
meantime,
a regular premium live event.
when
No, that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be a while since they're gonna have a regular premium live
yeah,
event.
it's gonna be a
Because
while. So
yeah,
in the meantime, you get to save your money. Save your money for a while.
yeah. But the problem is there's no money to be made. The perfect time to save money, and we can't even make them. So,
I just pick a corner, pick a corner
uh,
street.
well, the corner street I want to pick is the one that's closest to the John Cena last tour. Let's talk about that right now. Do you think the Bloodline storyline and The Rock has anything to do with John Cena's last tour?
Probably just solo.
Just solo?
Um, we've already had Roman and Cena a few times. We don't doesn't have to be one of those. I think Cena is going to be more like closing the final chapter on certain rivalries, which
Mm,
would have been a good reason to have kept Edge. Uh,
right. Oh man,
so
for sure.
like uh, Randy Orton Cena is probably going to be the final payoff, which it should be. I think
Mm.
it should end with them too. Um, maybe Cena and KO again at some point. Cena and Seth again at some point. Um, but I think Cena's tour is going to end with one of the bucket list scratch offs. Either he breaks Ric Flair's record or he gets the Grand Slam. I don't think he won't get both. I don't think he's going to get both. It's going to be one or the other.
Which one should he break?
Unless I'm going to give it to Randy, I think he should be the one that breaks the record.
Yeah, because if let's just say, because I'm pretty sure Randy Orton could be champion by next year. He could be champion right now. Take
Who
the
knows?
title away from Randy.
And
I
Braun
mean,
could be one of the
Cody.
Braun could be one of the guys that breaks the STFU,
Mm.
and then learns how to do the camel clutch.
I would oh, I like that. Brown having that submission move, that would be nice for him.
Add some more arsenal.
Um, I will say I do see both matches happening. I like, but I also agree that only one of them is gonna happen. Meaning he's either gonna win the IC title to be a Grand Slam champion, or he's gonna break the record. But I do see both matches happening. Uh, I'm gonna be honest. I'm fine with either or. But like again, how can you guarantee that Randy Orton's gonna break it? You know, if they could guarantee that Randy Orton is going to be the one he's gonna break it, then cool. Give Cena the Grand Slam. You know, uh, but at the same time, um, I don't know. It's just like then what do you do with it if Cena wins it? Uh,
Besides, Randy still needs a few more title reigns to at least tie with Cena and Flair.
yeah. And then right now with Randy, I would rather see storylines for him to be champion, not just to break it. Like right now, he could take the title away from Cody and then drop it. Something similar with Drew McIntyre. And then eventually he could win it again and still have that time to break it. Um, I feel like for Randy, it would be more of a Royal Rumble kind of thing. Um, would he be tied or he'll be tied with Austin on Royal Rumble wins, right? And Cena as well, or would it just
See,
be
almost all the top guys have been more than 10-time champions. So Batista, Cena, well, Batista's the only one below that, but Cena, Triple H, obviously he's 12 now.
right?
Randy Orton. Um, yeah, that's it because everybody's only had
Yeah,
the Rumble once.
yeah, because
Otherwise, Cody will have to be the next one at some point.
and then but for the Royal Rumble wins tied for three is Steve Austin and then Cena, right? And if Orton wins another Royal Rumble, he would be the
Cena's only won twice.
oh, Cena only won twice.
Yeah,
Hmm. I thought somebody am I thinking of
2008, and
13, right?
2013. Yeah,
Hmm. So Stone Cold's still the only guy who won three Royal Rumbles?
yeah. So what it is that him and Cody are tied for back to back.
Okay.
It's a tainted Rumble for Stone Cold, but it's back to back still. 97, 98, Cody 23, 24. Nobody's
Hmm.
done back to back. That's what the tie is.
Oh, so right now Stone Cold still holds the record of three Royal Rumble
Correct.
wins. Oh,
Yes, that's
I thought
correct.
Randy Orton had. Oh no, yeah, no, Randy Orton has two then. So that okay,
Yes.
so okay, so yeah, because he won.
2009 and 2017. Yeah,
Okay, and then if he wins a third one, Royal Rumble, then he would tie with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay,
correct.
I thought Cena was. I thought Cena, uh, tied with Austin already. I don't know why I thought that.
But at this point, the possible Rumble win is likely Roman, just because of everything that's happened over the year. Um, he is probably the most credible.
Yeah. Um. So I want to say about John Cena, about his last match, because when you mentioned Solo, that's where I see the Cody turn. Because so this is what I predict: Cena takes the title from Cody, and then finds a way to have that last match. It doesn't, to be honest, Cody doesn't even have to be champion or not, or Cena. But what I predict is John Cena faces Solo in his last match. Cena beats Solo and shakes hands with Solo, and that's how you get Solo to turn face. Or you can have Solo go up to Cena and shake hands, and then that's where you get Cody turn heel. And and then for Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble, that's where I see Solo taking the title from Cody. So we get Roman versus Solo at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship, and then you get Cody versus The Rock at night one, and then night two, that's where you get Roman versus The Rock for the WWE Championship. So I don't know how I just got there. I was just talking about Cena on Solo, but that just came out of my top of my head. Freestyling. The F is finisher freestyling. All right. So, Andre, it's time for this or that. All right. So, I'm going to give you two matches. You're going to pick which one. And these are WrestleMania 41 Las Vegas stream matches. Not really so much stream matches. All right. So, Andre, would you rather see Dominic versus Andrades in a hair versus hair match, or Dominic Mysterio versus Rhea Ripley? This or that? Which one would you rather see?
Dominic
Dom.
versus Rhea, giving that whole Eddie and China rivalry vibes. The
Ooh,
match that never got to really happen, like one on one. It was either on SmackDown with an interference by the Radicals, or it was on Raw with interference by the Radicals and Billy Gunn. So,
right.
uh, but it'll probably be a little bit of the same thing until he's no longer with Judgment Day. It might be something like that with Dominic and Rhea.
I
And I
expect.
will say this: they fumbled it. They fumbled with Dominic losing from the moment he was with his dad, because he probably could have been the first one since The Undertaker to have a nice WrestleMania streak. Not that Dominic's that credible, but he
Right.
could have eventually been that snobby heel guy of, hey, I'm the youngest guy with the biggest streak since
Mm,
the dead man. You could have built something around that. But now that Dominic's got a big show like losing streak at WrestleMania,
right.
uh, that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I felt like Dominic when he turned what's it called? Because I really thought we were gonna get a l- I thought why am I throwing a blank? I thought Dominic Mysterio was gonna have a streak at WrestleMania. Either a
Yeah.
winning streak or a losing streak. And like you said, I think right now he has a losing streak right now. No,
Yes, he does.
yeah.
He has lost every WrestleMania since he's came. Because he
Okay.
lost, him and his dad dropped the tag. Uh, Not dropped, but they lost, right? So they haven't
Yeah.
been champions since then. And then he's lost every championship, or he's lost every match since being on the Judgment Day,
Right.
since he lost his dad. So it's
Basically,
hard
ever
for him
since
to.
he won, basically since he dropped the North American Championship. Um, all right. Yeah, me personally, I prefer Dominic versus Andrade just because I don't think Dominic versus Rhea Ripley is a WrestleMania match. I feel like that's something we could get anytime. Um, and then Andrade versus Dom hair, it's hair versus hair. It's a lucha match. I feel like that's something. This would be the second time, but technically it would be the first like lucha style because that's a lucha match, hair versus hair. That's a lucha style type match, and also because of their last this year's tag team match. Andrade's teamed up with his dad, Rey Mysterio, against Santos Escobar and Dominic, right? That's what. So, all right, here's another one. This or that. Would you rather see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania or CM Punk versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania?
CM Punk and Seth for sure.
All right. This one is for the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther versus Drew McIntyre or Gunther versus Roman Reigns.
Oh damn! Come on, man.
Hey, you didn't thought about that possibility, right?
Gonna have to
That's
be Gunther versus. It's gonna be Gunther versus Roman. That I Drew and Gunther have been there, done that.
dude, I want to see that match, Gunther versus Roman. I never thought that was a possibility. I never even thought about that as a
And
like
see,
a
then
choice.
then because then you get to have Gunther being having those snobby heel promos where he says, "Finally, I get to have a chance with a real competitor. Unfortunately, it's this version of Roman Reigns that I had to face, not the tribal chief champion that I would have been proud to face.
Right.
Now I get to have Solo bitch as my opponent." So
Solo's bitch.
it gives him
Damn.
that confidence, man. It
Holy
gives
shit.
it gives us the Gunther we need to have that, you know, you know, uh
I know people can't see
roast master
Andre right now,
general
but
promos.
he's up his chair right now. Andre got a little excited for this one. Go ahead, Andre. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's the kind of Gunther promo you need, man. The kind that he's like just roasting the fuck out of his opponent. You're not getting that right now with Damian Priest because you saw a chink in the armor. Well, see, now yet that chink in the armor is removed because now Gunther can get his confidence back by saying, "I have a lesser Roman Reigns to face." I didn't know
Mm,
it was 2016 again, kind of promo.
2016. Damn, was he that bad in
Nobody likes you
2016?
anymore.
Nobody liked. Hey, that's not true.
See? Because he can say, you know what? At least when nobody liked you, they respected you. Now I can't like you and I can't respect you.
I guess I picked a good one on that one. All right, here's another this or that. Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton, or Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. I'm pretty
Option
sure
C, both.
both. Ooh,
Both.
I
Yeah,
got a
both.
both on this one. Nice. Why both?
Because Charlotte always has a thing about facing the blondes, man. It's something like it's the typical Valley Girl thing.
Like
Like you're
Carmella?
trying to say the typical Valley Girl rivalry. That's what that Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton thing is going to be. And then Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. That has to be a WrestleMania match. But unfortunately, I think it's going to end up being a SummerSlam match.
Mm. Why you say SummerSlam?
I think that's where the rivalry is going to end up taking place. I think
Yeah,
that's where eventually they're going to start their rivalry, whether it starts or finishes. It's going to end up happening there.
yeah, because I feel like if this is not going to be for the title, I feel like it's going to happen at I can see that now. Because if we're gonna go
Imagine that
based
being
on
the story.
John, what was that?
Imagine that being the story. The whole time that it was Bianca that attacked Jade Cargill so that she could have a reason to not like Bailey
Oh
and just
wow,
tried to put it on Bailey.
yeah. But then she comes back and they team up again, and she's trying to like get rid of her, trying to be nice. Hmm.
You could always say, like, you know what? I was in the main event before you, and then they made me team with you.
Yeah, but instead of saying I don't want to team, she took her out, but then tried to blame somebody else, and then she came back and
Because somehow
forcing them to team
she
up again.
she's the workhorse of the tag team. Bianca
Yeah,
does all the spots until Jay does the little pinning sexual pin. That's it. That's all she does, really. I mean, yes,
yeah,
she does powerhouse moves from time to time, but it's Jade who's taking the spot in the finish
yeah.
while Bianca's doing all the work. But Bianca takes all the energy from the entrance.
So
I'm telling you, that's going to be the Cena Batista rivalry between them
yeah,
two when that happens.
and that's why that's what I was gonna say because with Cena and Batista, the first time they faced each other was at SummerSlam to test the waters to see if it was a draw, and that's why they happened at WrestleMania. But it should have happened right away, not 2 years later. Um, so yeah, I could see that. I could see that happening now. For me, I was just gonna pick the Charlotte because I didn't think that was a WrestleMania worthy match yet. Just because what you put them together and then oh you guys gotta have this match. I mean you they did it with Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, but they didn't even won the tag team titles.
And you could even try to get Charlotte to force Tiffany to put the briefcase on the line at WrestleMania.
Oh,
If she
snap.
hasn't if she hasn't cashed it in by then, she could have even told her, well, you know what? You're not that great of a briefcase holder because you had so many opportunities to cash in on her and you didn't. You even had a
Damn.
chance to cash. You had a chance to cash in on both of them and you didn't. So you don't really deserve this briefcase. Like the way Miz was mocking
Otis?
Otis for having a briefcase that he didn't really need.
Right.
That he really, yeah, he really shouldn't have been the one to hold it. Come on, you could have given it to Baron Corbin and let him revive his career from that.
Was he even part of that?
Yes, he was. Remember when he threw? He's the one that Aleister Black and Roman and Rey Mysterio when he threw them off the
Oh, that
building.
that was him. Okay, I don't remember that. I
Bubble
knew
Murder.
some. I remember somebody got tossed, but I don't remember who tossed them. So that's funny. Um. All right. So we're gonna talk. So on this part of the show is gonna be, since it's Sunday, it's gonna be Cyber Sunday, and this is our main event. So Andre, I posted a poll for our 57 followers on Spotify to vote for what match we should discuss. Either whatever comes to mind. It's like, you book it right, fantasy booking, something. So, anyways, here's the match card that I posted for us to discuss. Batista versus Edge, Triple H versus Shelton Benjamin, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Rey Mysterio versus Seth freaking Rollins. And out of 57 followers, only 12 people voted. Shout out to those 12 people. They all voted for AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Um, so what we're gonna talk about is Book It Right, the rivalry of 2018. Um, let's talk about it. So, what's your thoughts about that? AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
There you go. Okay. Uh I still I give AJ the win at WrestleMania only because that was his win back from Wrestle Kingdom against Shinsuke
Right.
when they were fighting over the IC title. Um, so let AJ retain because he needed the win more, and let's not do the whole kicking thing and to end double countouts. I think AJ could have gone with dropping the title a second time and then retaining it or gaining it back.
Right.
Um, just so there's more urgency between him and Joe. Uh, so I would have had him drop the title to Shinsuke at Backlash instead of the double dick kick uh, count ending.
Yeah, because it ended in
Because
it ended in a
that
count
was
out.
that's what ended up giving the Samoan Joes the fact that they closed the show was stupid, and then to have that be the match before the match nobody wanted to see.
Hmm.
Um, and I definitely would have let them close the show. I would have let Shinsuke close the show so that he could have, it's not the WrestleMania spot of the champion, but let him have the whole pyro moment.
Right.
Let him have the moment he deserved. Not just to not be a consolation Rumble winner. And let AJ win it back at Money in the Bank.
Mhm.
But I would have, if anything, I would have let the match at Backlash be the stiffest match of all.
Yeah, for
Now, of
sure.
course, you would have been. I know for sponsor reasons you want to be careful because WWE has real sponsors as opposed to New Japan.
Right.
New Japan has stiff, strong styles type sponsors, so they don't really care if somebody gets hurt. They're not
That's their
concerned because
slogan. That's their
they have
slogan.
universal health care crap. Okay, um, but I would have let them be a little bit more stiff and have a street fight
For Backlash or Money in the Bank?
backlash.
Okay,
This way,
Backlash.
it gives a reason. This way, it gives a reason for the dick kicking and the stiff shots.
Oh, but that happened at Backlash. So you had WrestleMania, the Greatest Royal Rumble, and Backlash. And Backlash, that's when the low blow happened. Then it was Money in the
But at
Bank.
least, at least the dick kicking would be legal, so it doesn't
Oh,
end.
okay.
It doesn't end the match.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Oh, okay. My mistake. I thought you were still gonna
Now,
have that match
for,
to lead to a
for,
street fight.
for the low blow spot, I would have Shinsuke do what HBK selling of an injury,
Mm,
and then AJ starts to feel bad. He feels bad, and the referee's kind of pushing him back. Have him try and help Shinsuke up, and then Shinsuke hugs him back and either kicks him in the dick or does an uppercut like the way he did at the end of WrestleMania
right.
under
Yes.
after their match. The match didn't end. It's still going on. The
Right.
referee never said, the referee never threw up the X or anything. He's just, trying to be spotful. And then you have him do the Kinshasa and 1, 2, 3 at
Mm,
Backlash. You have the Saudi Arabia match in between. He retains, and now you got a pissed off AJ Styles. Um, but it's not a no disqualification match this time. And you have the stipulation of if AJ gets himself disqualified, Shinsuke retains, and AJ can't compete for the world championship anymore.
mm,
Um, so that puts more urgency because now AJ's gonna have to really defend the title before he eventually drops it. Obviously, later on
right.
to Daniel Bryan, uh, but it gives him a reason to make the
Well, hold
championship
on.
title reign.
Can I add one thing before you continue?
But
AJ Styles dropped the title to Daniel because he told Vince that he was getting burned out. Would you still make that decision for AJ?
I mean, if that was the reason behind it, keep it going. Plus, Daniel Bryan was a better opponent for Kofi at Mania.
Okay.
So you can just still have your Kofi Mania thing. I don't know if Kofi Mania would have worked with AJ Styles.
No,
Um,
they would not. Daniel Bryan was the only guy because it was he was being a hypocrite.
yep. So
Okay.
plus you
So,
got robbed. You would have gotten robbed out of Randy Orton versus AJ Styles,
oh,
which
that
is
should have
something
been
we.
that should have been for the WWE Championship. So,
And if anything, maybe Randy Orton would have made more sense for WrestleMania for Kofi and Randy to Ben at Mania,
oh
just in
yeah,
case. That probably could have been something that Mania had said,
yeah,
and it would have made even more sense for the whole Kofi stupid thing.
oh yeah. You're
Instead of
so
it being on an under pay per view, that would have been just as good at Mania. Kofi versus Randy Orton.
another fantasy booking right there. I mean, you kind of
Yeah,
you kind of told it right there. You just switched it. So I like that. But for me, with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, I would have done the same build up for WrestleMania. I would not had him turn heel at WrestleMania. Um, the match that they had was not bad. If you go back and just watch the match, watch the entrance, watch the video package, the match belt to belt, it's really good. It was just the fact that 3 hours later, and then we get, it was just like we were already burned out.
it's a
And
long WrestleMania. Plus, if you didn't watch New Japan, it's a great match for you. If you did
yes,
watch New Japan, like I said, at that time I was investing in all the other promotions,
facts.
so I got to be exposed to everything else. If you didn't get exposed to their Wrestle Kingdom match, if you didn't get exposed to their rivalries in New Japan, this is first few watch. But the fact that you watched a better set of matches between them in Japan is
Hmm.
why it's kind of like the Iron
Animated,
Claw. It's kind of like watching the Iron Claw. The fans that don't know anything about the Von Erichs, it's a great movie. It's a fantastic story. The
facts.
people that do know the real thing about Von Erichs, like that didn't happen. That didn't happen. No, that's not what happened. You're gonna be very critical of it. That's why
Right.
you were all very critical of their rivalry. Okay, the dick kick worked the first time. We don't need to see it again. We don't need to see it again. Okay, what the fuck?
All those low blows, and he not won the title. So now for me though, uh, no low blow, same style match. Like Andre say, this match was great. This for the first time viewers, this was your first movie. For us, this was the pre sequel. And this was basically, how do I put this? There's this, we watched a Japanese movie and the US made an American version of it. If you did not watch the Japanese version, it's great. If you did, it's horrible. They did a horrible job. But regardless, if you go back and watch it, even if you watch the first time, the first match, it's still not bad. Um, Now Backlash. I would have a rematch. Um, because that's where I would have had Shinsuke Nakamura win, but that's when I would have had him turn heel because it would have been a year since his debut to SmackDown. So it would have worked. He should have been the main event. If he opened the show last year, where he should have been semi-main event, but whatever. Uh, he should have closed out the show, not Roman and Samoa Joe, for the WWE Championship, and that's where similar match to what they. Oh no, wait, because they were at the quest for the Greatest Royal Rumble. Uh Oh, you know what? The Greatest Royal Rumble, I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't even have that match there. I would have just had it at Backlash. Or so Backlash, that's where I would have had. Oh man, you know what? The Greatest Royal Rumble, I probably I probably would have had Shinsuke win there. I probably would have had him turn heel there at the Greatest Royal Rumble. And that's where we do the low blow. That's where he hits him with his the knee to the back of the head of AJ. He wins the WWE Championship, and in a Backlash, that's where he could walk in WWE Champion, and that's where AJ Styles takes the title away from him, and that's where it could be a no disqualification match. And then Money in the Bank, that's where they could have another match. Um, See, here's my issue, man. I don't want that money. I'm trying to find a way because AJ Styles faced Rusev at Extreme Rules. Why couldn't he just face Shinsuke Nakamura there in a last man standing match? That's where I'm trying to like, and then you had the greatest Royal Rumble where if you remove that and you would have had the backlash. Backlash is where you could have had Shinsuke won the title, and then you had Money in the Bank where AJ Styles could have won it back, and then Extreme Rules. That's where you could have had the last man standing match, and then that's where AJ retains. And then SummerSlam, he could have either faced Rusev or he could have faced Samoa Joe. And then if they wanted, because I feel, and then look what happened with Rusev. He lost to AJ Styles at Extreme Rules, clean in an Extreme Rules pay per view. Okay, and then in SummerSlam he lost to Randy Orton in 10 seconds. So and then AJ Styles faced Samoa Joe, and it was a no disqualification. So you could have had AJ Styles versus Rusev or you and then AJ could have just beat him. And then you could have pushed him down to the mid card with Randy Orton. You could have had Randy Orton and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe could have beat Randy Orton. Now you push Randy Orton down to the mid card. So yeah, so that you know what? That's where I'm gonna go. Forget about the greatest Royal Rumble. You could have still had the event. If you have it's called the greatest Royal Rumble. Why do you have 10 single why do you have 9 single matches? What the greatest Royal Rumble, 50 men. Why do you have 9 other matches and a ladder match? What does the ladder match has to do with the greatest Royal Rumble? So so you could have still had the event. I just wouldn't have the title, the WWE title match. So Backlash, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke. I'm gonna do the that's where Shinsuke turns heel, wins the WWE title. Money in the Bank. I'll make it a no disqualification match, and that's where AJ Styles wins by a low blow to Shinsuke because El Hijo de Pero Aguayo Jr. That was his finisher. He hit people with a low blow and then he covers them 1, 2, 3. So because it is a finisher. So AJ Styles win with a low blow. He wins the title back, and then Extreme Rules. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, WWE title, last man standing. There you go. Boom. Fantasy booking. God damn. Yeah. Woo! And that was just freestyling right there. I know it wasn't the best, but I'm satisfied with my booking. I guess that wraps up this episode. So appreciate Andre for joining this episode. Until next time, we are out.